There are items we use on a daily basis that we really don't pay that much attention to. Here are first 10 of everyday items with a hidden features. First, the half belt on your coats and jackets. Usually seen on trench and pea coats, they were originally developed for men in the military who had oversized jackets that doubled as blankets. The half belt is simply used to gather the extra material and hold it in place so soldiers could walk freely. Second, the tiny Ziploc baggie containing a button and about 1 square inch of matching fabric. Sometimes, when you buy a nice new shirt or pants, or even underwear, that it often comes with a tiny Ziploc baggie containing a button and about 1 square inch of matching fabric? The reason seems obvious, right? A button in case one falls off when you aren't paying attention, and the fabric in case you get a small hole in your clothes and need to patch it up. Well, the real purpose of the fabric is for you to test out your cleaning products on, to make sure they won't ruin the material. Third, the hole in the tab of your soda can. Every can of soda comes with a tab for easy opening of the tasty beverage. Its intended purpose is actually to serve as a placeholder for your straw. Simply spin the tab around over the opening and slip your straw through. Fourth, the rich pattern on the edge of some coins. Have you ever found yourself wondering why the edges of dimes and quarters have rough-hewn edges, but the edges of nickels and pennies remain smooth? Back in the good old days, people began shaving off the edges in coins to save up to melt into new coins later. They would spend the shaven coins at their full value, even though they weren't worth that much anymore. In order to avoid this, coin minters started using the rigid pattern only on the precious metal coins, so that a person could easily tell if a coin had been shaven. Fifth, the hole in your pen cap. If you're like most of the rest of the world, you remember wondering what on earth the tiny hole in your pen cap was meant for as a child. While many have just summed it up to some strange way to keep the ink flowing, there is actually a much more thoughtful explanation. Manufacturers of the pens that are so ubiquitous in our lives understood that small kids would likely end up with these choking hazards in their mouths one day. They took measures to prevent them from suffocating by placing a hole in the cap so that if one were to get stuck in a little one's throat, they could still breathe air into their lungs. Sixth, metal rivets in denim jeans. Yes, believe it or not, all of those small metal rivets you have in your jeans have a purpose. They're not just there to make a fashion statement, they are strategically fastened in areas where jeans used to fall apart. Denim jeans originally became popular among the working class like farmers, miners, ranchers, laborers, and the like. In order to keep their work clothes from ripping apart at the seams, they used the rivets where they were most likely to rip to give them some extra life. Seventh, the fifth pocket on your jeans. You may have noticed that a lot of denim jeans come with a tiny extra pocket on the side known as the fifth pocket. This small pocket was actually designed with a very specific item in mind, the pocket watch. Jeans were the pants of choice for gold miners in California in the mid-1800s, and one of the most important items they kept on them was their pocket watch, which was generally delicate and spendy. 8. The necks on beer and soda bottles. Nearly everyone on the planet knows the familiar shape of a beer bottle. Specifically, why is the neck so long and shaped the way it is? Well, as it turns out, the bottleneck shape is intentionally designed to encourage a person to hold their beer at the top of the bottle, where their body heat won't warm up the rest of their beer before they can finish it. 9th, pocket in women's panties. Although women have found them to be plenty useful for storing things, like tampons or other small items of a private nature, this actually isn't why it's there. This pocket is actually called a panty gusset, and was never intended to be a pocket at all. Rather, it is an extra piece of fabric sewn in for women's hygiene, and in the higher-end panties the gusset is sewn completely shut. The pocket is simply a result of manufacturers unwilling to spend the time and money to get those last few stitches in. 10th, the beanie pom-poms. It's that time of year where everyone pulls out their winter wear. Just like most other people today, you may just think that the poofy pom-pom dangling from the end of your beanie is simply there for added fashion, but when first designed it served a much more functional purpose. The pom-pom was sewn to the top of the cap to keep the seams from coming apart. In later years, people began using buttons instead of pom-poms to bind the seams, and it looked like a small bean at the top, hence the name we are now familiar with. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe.